District. She'll give us information on conservation and how to protect our soil, water, and habitat.
Now here is Greg Naftzger and Meghan Pettit.
Good morning, everybody. Greg Naftzger in with our Whiteside County Soil and Water Conservation District show. And we have our new guest in with us today. Dave Harrison retired last month, and his replacement is Meghan Pettit. And good morning, Meghan.
Good morning.
And how's things been going so far? You're
Good.
kind of
It's
falling
been
into the
good.
job already?
Yeah, there's a lot to learn, but I'm loving it. So
Oh, good.
pretty excited to keep going.
Oh, good. And weather's getting a little nicer, hopefully.
It is, hopefully. Hopefully it stays nicer.
Yeah. So what's on your agenda for the day?
So I have noticed the cranes have been migrating.
Okay.
I dug into it a little bit, and 20,000 sandhill cranes migrate through Illinois from mid-February to mid-April, and they can fly 200 to 300 miles a day.
Wow.
Didn't know. They can also fly 25 to 35 mile an hour, and if they have a good tailwind, they can do 500 miles in a day, which seems ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a lot of flying.
Yeah. Their calls are loud enough. You can hear them before you see them because you can hear them about 2.5 miles away.
Mm.
And they will mate for life. And so when they migrate in their family groups. And it's interesting. They feed on grain, which is why you see them in cornfields often. And they only nest around water. And then, so I live in Albany along the river, and I've been noticing all of these pelicans all over. So I did a little research on them, and they're one of the largest birds in North America, and they'll stay in this region up to 5 weeks, making their way to their nesting grounds in the Great Basin. And I kind of noticed that they've run out the ducks, the geese, and the eagles. They must be...
Yeah, well, weather gets a little nicer, and the eagles go a little further north.
Yep.
But I haven't seen as many ducks right now.
Yeah.
Still plenty of geese around. But I live in Fulton along the river
nice.
too,
Yeah.
so I see a lot of that stuff going on.
And the pelicans are actually a protected species in Illinois. I didn't know that either. And then I've been noticing all the red-winged blackbirds, and they're kind of an interesting bird. The males are the black ones that we have been seeing. The females are actually brown and like streaked or speckled. I didn't know that.
No, me.
The males start arriving as early as January, and the females arrive in March and April. So they should be coming. If they're not already here, they should be coming. They nest in clover fields and ditches and marshes, cultivated fields and wood edges, and they nest from May to July. And the males are really territorial, and they'll fiercely defend their territories, which is interesting because when we were little, we had horses, and we would ride up and down our road, and there was always one red-winged blackbird that would like fly at us, and it was so mean. That explains why.
Yeah.
They'll chase other males, and they'll attack nest predators, even, as large as horses. And they will roost in flocks in the summer, which are a little smaller than their winter flocks. So their winter flocks can be several million birds, which is why it just looks like there's so many.
Yeah.
Their summer flocks are smaller. And interestingly enough, the oldest one found was 15 years and 9 months old, and it was banded in New Jersey in 1967, and it was found in Michigan in 1983. And it was injured, and it was able to be released. I had no idea they lived that long.
No, that's amazing.
Yeah. And then, since it is springtime, I thought I would talk a little bit about tree planting. If you're going to plant trees, you want to break up the sod around it, because if you're drilling it, it will twist around the auger and cause a little bit of trouble. And when you plant your trees, you don't want your hole depth to be much greater than the pot that it comes in. And then when you fill them in. You want to fill the hole halfway up with soil and then tamp it down with either your foot or a tamper, and then fill in the remaining balance of soil and tamp it down again. And then a best practice would be to dump like a 5-gallon bucket of water on it. And then you want to protect it from the deer, either spray it or cage it. And don't use any fertilizer till year 2. And that can come in a spray or granules, but you want a delayed release. And if you're planting hardwoods, make sure it's designed for hardwoods. So those would be your oaks, walnuts, hickories. And then once the grass greens up, you can spray Roundup around the tree, but don't spray the tree itself or get it on the leaves. You could use like cardboard or something to shield it. And then you want to mow between the rows because that will keep your rodents and rabbits off of it. And then before planting, you want to keep it shaded and watered, but only water it once a week. You don't want to drown it out. And when you do plant it, don't stick it in a bucket of water and like carry it around. That'll drown it out. If you do need to wrap it, you dip it in water and then wrap it in newspaper, and that should be good. And you can root prune, and that will help stimulate growth. Evergreens, you could do about 1/3 of the root and don't take anything off the top. Hardwoods, you would prune about 1/3 of the root, and you can take some of the top off of those. Then if we're going to talk about tree planting, we'll talk about tree disease. Oak wilt it produces a fungus that essentially clogs the water conducting vessels in the tree. So it will cause rapid wilting and loss of leaves at the top of the tree. The entire tree will die in a few weeks, and oaks killed the year before will have spore mats that have pressure pads, and when they ruptured, and they'll have ruptured, the beetles are attracted to the sweet smell of those spore mats, and then they can move those spores to uninfected areas. And once an oak stand is infected, the disease will spread through the root system as well. It requires live tissue, so once the trees are dead, the fungus is also dead. It can also be spread by logs and firewood. So if you harvested oak from infected trees, it needs to be made into lumber, burned, or tightly covered. It can be treated, but it's expensive, and the process can result in visual changes of the tree. And to treat it, you want to break the root grafts with a vibratory plow and remove all the oaks with the infected epicenter. And then once it's infected, it can't be saved. And prevention is the best way to deal with it. You don't want to wound an oak from April to August, so you don't want to prune it. And if you're mowing around it, you don't want to hit it. That could hurt it. And then there is oak decline, which is kind of similar. It's caused by several injurious stressors simultaneously affecting the tree. So drought, spring defoliation, root fungi, and wood-boring insects. And the symptoms include early browning of leaves, thinning of the canopy cover, loss of branches, and that can lead to death of the oak. And you want to prevent that as well. You want to avoid damaging the tree limbs, trunks, and roots. You want to monitor the trees for insects and fungal bacteria. And pruning, you want to prune the damaged limbs. And you can mulch around the base to protect the roots. And
I see you got coming up soil health.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be your next topic.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of different types of soil around this area. Some is real sandy, some is the best soil in the world. And so what you got for us today?
The main principles of soil health are to maximize the presence of living roots, minimize disturbance, maximize soil cover, and maximize biodiversity. And planting cover crops is a good way to maximize soil health. and you want to reduce the erosion and runoff, and cover crops help that. They can slow the velocity of the runoff, which will help not create rills and washouts. Over time, cover crops can increase the organic matter, and that can improve soil structure and stability, and it can increase moisture and nutrient holding capacity. And when cover crops are managed for nitrogen, you may be able to apply less nitrogen, and that can lower your cost of production. And the drought. We've had some improvement because it's been raining. I hear it's going to rain again, so there might be a little more improvement, but we're still pretty low. We've had the 17th driest year in over 128 years, and we're the 39th driest February on record for 128 years. So we're still low.
Well, we didn't get much snow this winter either.
No, we didn't. So hopefully the rains in the next few days will help bring it a little bit better. But I know Whiteside County part of it is moderately dry, and part of it is abnormally dry. So hopefully the rains
Which part
help
are we
us.
in?
We are in the, I didn't write that down. I believe we're in the, we're pretty much in the borderline there. But hopefully the rains in the next few days will help.
Yeah, I'm sure we're going to get some.
Yeah.
Well, what is your day going to look like once you
When I
get back to the office or the field or wherever you're going?
I have got to go do some cover crop checks. So I got to go make sure cover crops are growing and coming up the way they're supposed to.
Okay.
So.
And what's your territory?
All of Whiteside County.
County. Okay.
It's a pretty big county, so there's a lot to cover.
Yeah. And a lot of, again, different types of soil, but habitat.
Yeah.
Some areas are marshy and wet, and others are dry, like you mentioned.
Yep. So it'll be an interesting day with my cover crop experience.
Okay. Well, hey, we've been talking with Meghan Pettit, and Meghan is with the Whiteside County Soil and Water Conservation District, and they're out of Morrison, and you're on Route 78, just as you go out
south
of town.
Yep.
So easy to find.
Yep.
And if they got any questions, what's your phone number there at the office?
It's 815-772-2124.
Okay, good enough.
Yeah.
Good job.
Thanks.
All right, thanks for coming in, and we'll see you in a month.
Thank you for having me.
Well, you bet. The Whiteside County Soil and Water Conservation District program is heard at 9:15 a.m. on the second Tuesday of every month, right here on KROS.
Keep it up.